The Suzuki SV650 has what you might call a cult following. Originally introduced in 1999, the SV650 has been the go-to bike for many first-time riders. My first bike was in fact a 2005 SV650. They're inexpensive, reliable, and offer strong mid-range power that both beginners and experienced riders can appreciate. After 2 generations, Suzuki replaced the SV650 with the Gladius turned SFV650 in 2009, and it didn't quite warm the hearts of the SV650 faithful, mostly in the styling department. But now the SV650 is back. Making its debut in 2017, this 3rd generation SV650 is taking cues from the previous generations and looks to re-establish itself as the go-to bike for riders who crave versatility. Taking things a step further, Suzuki released a retro cafe racer version of the SV650 in 2018, which makes a few changes to the standard bike. It's called the SV650X. And in today's video, we're going to see what the SV650X has to offer. Some motorcycles are made to go fast. Others are built for comfort. But if you're looking for a bike that will give you just about anything you want without complaining, a true all-arounder, then the naked or standard class is one of the best routes to go. Want a blend of affordability, practicality, and fun? Then look no further than the class of naked 600s. These include bikes like the Yamaha MT-07 and Kawasaki Z650. But over the years, it's Suzuki's SV650 that has remained a go-to constant, making it a veteran in this class. I will admit I am completely biased and love naked bikes. I find them to be great commuters, canyon carvers, and even track day heroes. But let's take a deeper dive into the Suzuki SV650 and see why this is the case. The one we have here is a 2019 Suzuki SV650X. In 2017, when Suzuki resurrected the SV650 name, they gave us a bike that was looking to recapture and improve upon its glory days. This 2019 is virtually identical to the 2017 model, and in this X trim, there are a few changes we'll point out. As I've mentioned, the SV650 falls into the standard or naked class of middleweight bikes with something in the range of 600 to 700cc engines. Most bikes in this class are inline 2s, but the SV650 makes do with a 645cc V-twin. Having a V-twin is one of the things that sets it apart. V-twins have a distinct character and sound that you simply don't get from inline 2s. And that fact alone makes the SV650 more enjoyable to ride. But more on the engine later, let's start with the styling. Being a naked bike, the SV650 has little in the way of fairings. That means all the good stuff, all the engineering, is there for the eyes to see, and I love it. There's something pleasing about being able to see the complexity of a motorcycle's construction. Up front, the SV650 has a round headlight. I'm glad Suzuki went with the round headlight versus the oddly shaped headlight found on the SFV650. This light is halogen, so won't provide as much visibility as the LED lights found on other bikes like the Honda CB650R. The SV650X is mostly a cafe racer styling experiment for Suzuki. There's a cowl added to the headlight. It's not as substantial as what you might find on a BMW or Triumph, but it's a nice distinguishing touch for a bike in this class. There's virtually no wind protection, a common trait found on naked bikes, so traveling for extended periods on the highway won't be the most enjoyable. On the side, there's an additional panel that has the SV650X logo. The X receives clip-ons, which put the rider in a more aggressive position. However, the pegs remain mid-mounted, so the result is still a mostly comfortable riding position. The tank has nice notches for your knees to grip. Tank pads would still be a good investment. Completing the retro style of the SV650X is a quilted saddle with a leather look and feel. It's not incredibly plush, but serves its purpose well while still adding some style. I liked it better in person than I did in pictures. Just like the second generation SV650, my favorite part of this new bike is the tail. This bike has a very pronounced point to its rear end that I really like. The second generation SVs had a very distinct rear tail and taillight design. I am happy Suzuki made an effort to make this bike look aggressive in the rear. Unlike the headlight, the taillight is an LED unit with two dual star patterns. Of course, it would be even more pronounced with the tidier fender. The 2019 SV650X comes exclusively in this white, red, and black color scheme. 2020 models are painted exclusively in solid black, and 2018 models added some gray into the mix. If you're particular about your colors, note you will have to get the bike from the year that corresponds with your preferred color. I think this 2019 in white has the most character and sportiness, but the 2018 paint scheme is understated in a classy sort of way and is my favorite. The all-black 2020 is a bit bland and is my least favorite. Other color options are available for non-X SVs, which include a painted frame. In terms of differences between the X and the standard SV650, that's about it. The cowl, clip-ons, and the seat. The SV650X has a claimed seat height of 31.1 inches compared to the standard SV650's 30.9 inches. While it is a touch higher, most riders should still find touching the ground easy to do while sitting on the bike. The SV650 has a steel trellis frame, which is a carryover from the SFV650. Keeping the wheels planted to the ground is a basic suspension setup. Up front is a telescopic fork with preload adjustment. The rear is a pretty basic coil spring and also gets preload adjustment. Braking is handled by dual 290mm disc and 4-piston calipers in the front, and a single 240mm disc with single piston caliper in the rear. The front brakes are a welcomed upgrade, as 2017 and 2018 models come equipped with 2-piston calipers. ABS comes standard with the SV650X and is noted on the front wheel guard that has a textured surface. The wheels and tires are 120/70/17s up front and 160/60/17s in the rear. The suspension and brakes have always been weak points for the SV. Getting emulators or doing a complete front end swap with the GSXR have been popular ways to fix that problem in older generations. But for those not looking to spend much time at the track, the stock setup as a whole does a good job. The braking power comes on slowly, but offers good stopping power the harder you squeeze. The suspension will see some dive under braking, but the chassis remains stable. Overall stability and balance is the SV's superpower. While the individual parts aren't anything special, when they all come together in a platform that has had so much time to be tried and tested, the result is a bike that feels familiar. It's something Suzuki does well with many of their bikes. You won't find much in their lineup that is on the cutting edge, but what you will find are bikes that are proven and reliable. The instrument cluster comes in the form of an LCD. Information includes a bar-style tach, numerical speed, fuel gauge, clock, and gear position. Although the display isn't color, it's still easy to read and nice to look at. Ergonomically, all the controls are very straightforward. Again, Suzuki has long done a great job at making riding a motorcycle feel accessible to all types of riders, and this newest SV650 sticks with that tradition. The SV650 is equipped with a single touch easy start function. Let's press the button and start it up. The 645cc V-twin makes 75 horsepower and 47 pound-feet of torque. It has a red line of 10,000 RPM. Hearing the SV650X start up is like hearing an old friend speak for the first time in several years. A friend that has enjoyed one too many April 20ths. In that the voice is raspier than I remember, even with the factory can, the SV has that distinct twin thump that I love. Of course, an aftermarket exhaust would bring it even more to life. The power comes on down low, and because it has such a solid mid-range, it's a joy to pull from a stop through the first 3 gears. That's the beauty of a bike like the SV650X versus something like a GSX-R 1000. Around town, you can rip through a couple of gears wide open and not find yourself going 10 times the speed limit. That doesn't mean the SV650 is slow. It has plenty of thrust to have fun, but it's very accessible power, and that's why it's such a joy to ride. And even if you wanted to relax on back roads, you can find yourself pulling through turns and passing cars without having to change gears. You can honestly leave it in 3rd or 4th gear and ride the twin's torque at most speeds over 30 miles per hour. The SV650 comes equipped with the low RPM assist function as standard. It raises the RPM a bit as the clutch starts to engage during takeoff and lowers the chance of a rider stalling out the bike. We have all been there, and this feature gives riders a bit more confidence while sitting at a stoplight. Another great thing about the SV650 and naked bikes in general is that doing basic maintenance like oil changes is a breeze. No need to remove any fairings, the filter and drain are all easily accessible. Suzuki claims the SV650 can get 70 miles per gallon, but expects something just south of 60 miles per gallon in the real world. Still very good, and of course your right hand can lower or raise that number. The curb weight is 437 pounds, which isn't terribly light, but still a good weight for flicking the bike around. Using the key, you can remove the seat. Underneath, you will find a small amount of room for minor storage, the battery, electronics, and tools. With an MSRP of $8,399, the SV650X is $1,300 more than a base SV650, and $900 more than the SV650 with ABS. I'm not sure you're getting $900 more bike for that price. You're certainly not getting $1,300 more bike. The premium comes from the styling. If you like the way the X looks, then go for it. But the discount truly comes from buying these bikes secondhand or last year's model, as you can find them for around $6,000 with very low miles. As a more seasoned rider, I am not sure I would spend $8,400 on an SV, especially when you consider a Yamaha MT-09 can be had for just $500 more. Even in Suzuki's lineup, you can get a bike like the GSX S750 ABS for just $400 more. However, at a price point of about $6,000, the SV650X is certainly worth it. While time must go on, and this 3rd generation SV does offer a lot of what made the original SVs so popular, it doesn't quite stir my soul like the 2nd generation SV. Before the 3rd gen fans have a fit, understand this is still a great bike, and honestly better than the 2nd gen in most all categories. And for new riders or those looking for an inexpensive option, this SV650X is a smart buy. But because so much of the bike does use old equipment, it's lacking a bit of soul that was found in the previous generations. I feel as though Suzuki could have taken things a step further, mainly with the suspension and brakes. Still, I would absolutely recommend the SV to new riders because this bike is so forgiving. The V-twin is unique, And the SV will be a great partner as you learn and build many skills as a rider. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.